Hi, my name is Elias Boquillan, and today I'm going to walk you through a piece of software that I wrote with MaxMSP that I call eLive. It is a multi-channel digital audio workstation that puts a big twist on how things are actually handled and managed. In most software, you have tracks that run like tape decks that you might hook different pedals to or have different playback sounds going through each one. And you manipulate sounds very much like you would with a mixing board. This takes it a step much further in the sense that now you can, if you imagine if you're at a show and you see a guitarist lean over and tweak all of their pedals in between each song, imagine if you could do that for everybody on stage with the click of a button. And that is what eLive is capable of doing. And so I'm just going to walk through some of this. So first off, this is the main window. What you're seeing here is a green block for each one of the processes in the whole thing. And so if I talk into this, you can see that a few things are lighting up right now. I have input 1 going, effects 5 going, and final output 1 and 2 going. And so that's why you can hear the echoey kind of sound coming from there. If for some reason input 2 is a problem, I can just click the green button and then that mutes that and ripples throughout the whole program. That can be very helpful if you are in the middle of a song and there are many things going on, but only one thing is causing a problem. You can just nip that in the bud and move on from there and hopefully address it and then be able to pick up where you left off. So the first window up in the top bar here is the set list window. So if I bring that down here, you can see that I have 4 different songs queued up so that when one song completes, it'll just move on to the next. The setlist editor can also hold up to 5 different set lists, so you can be ready for a few different concerts in one go. Next is the song window, and this is the heart of what does all of the things that I was talking about before. So first off, it has the name of the song. I can create a new song here. I can rename it. I can switch it between performance and editing mode. So in editing mode, it means that whatever changes you make to the effects and loopers and routing down here at the bottom, that will save and then move on to the next patch change. If you're in performance mode, it won't save it. It'll just move directly onto the next patch change so that there's no delay when you're actually in the music. Next, you have the BPM of the song, the time signature. You can turn on a metronome if you're rehearsing, and then this is the heart of it here where we're talking about which patch change we are on. So right now we are on patch change 10. It has these settings and a bunch of other settings. I want to go back to the beginning, so I just hit that. And then so in a moment I'm going to start talking about the effects. But just before I go into that, I just want to talk about these routing blocks down here. So this is where you send things from one place to another. And so if I click this button, I'm sending input 2 to effects 1. Or I could send input 1 to effects 8. And so this will change when I go to the next patch change, which I can do either with a foot pedal or the space bar or by clicking the next button that I have right here. So now just to kind of demonstrate what this can be doing, I'm going to hop into the effects window for a second. So this, you can see I have 8 different channels with 4 different slots where I can choose which effect I want to be in that slot. So right now I have channel 1 has grain freeze in the first slot and then nothing in the next 3. And then I have key shifter and channel 2, but I can feed effects into other effects. So what are these effects, you might be asking? So that's a great question. The first one I wanted to demonstrate is the grain freeze, which takes a small little blip of sound and then spreads it out a little bit and then repeats it over and over again to make it sound like the same note is just being held forever. So And it all just thaws out. And so that is grain freeze. The next one that I want to demonstrate is something called key shifter. And you can see I just switched the patch change over, and that made it so that now it's routing input 2 to effects 2, where before it was just routing input 1 to effects 1. And now that I have this going, I can go to my keyboard and play some notes that can be pitch shifted as I go through. Sounds fun. The next one that I want to demonstrate is something called the mellow delay, and this is one version of it where basically I take a little blip and then I enable it. And then another one that's very similar. Oh, it's already getting a little antsy here. So if I go here and say hello, and then the last one on our little journey is the tunneler. And so let me bring that up. There it is. And so this takes a blip of sound and then feeds it back into itself. And so but before it comes back around, it gets pitch shifted a little bit. And so you'll hear it kind of trail off into the distance as I try this. All right, so those are some of the effects that I have built. I'll be building more over time, and I hope that other people can build their own patches and just insert them right in here. All you have to do is follow my default patch and then drop that into a certain folder, and it'll appear in the list of effects in that effects window. And so this opens up the possibility for anybody to just take all of their creative efforts, and rather than build a whole bunch of this stuff from scratch, they can have this ability to move from one spot to the next very easily through my patch change mechanism and routing mechanism as well. So the last window here, or the couple last windows, so we have the loopers, and so this would be tough to demonstrate, but basically I get to choose how many measures the looper buffer is. I get to choose if it plays forward twice as fast, so it would be high pitched, in reverse, whether it's reverse and high pitched, and then half speed and quarter speed, so those will bring them down low. I can say to have the altered pitch I just mentioned, or keep the original pitch, just change the duration of things. And whether you're recording or playing in that particular patch change is chosen here. There's a mute and a volume knob for all of that. So you can see that I could record multiple buffers at the same time and have them play back as a chorus in different speeds and directions, all in a couple of presses of a button. And so there's a lot of really cool things you can do with that. And then finally, there's the controllers, which when looking at all of this, trying to get the drivers and routing all squared away for people who use different interfaces like keyboards and button panels and whatnot. So I just made it so that this can all be routed at the song level, so that at every song, your entire mapping can change based on your needs. So this one is saying that this click button that I have, which is just like a bang, as opposed to a toggle, which is on and off, or a value slider, which is 0 to 127, which is standard MIDI. And then it goes to channel 4, effect 1, inlet 1. So if I look at this, I go to 1, 2, 3, 4, check out this one, and I see that inlet 1 is this. So if I wanted to, instead of click on that inlet 1 button, I could have a different controller hooked up there. And I also made it so that the FCB 1010 is ready to go, and you don't need to map it or do any learning or anything like that. And basically, what you do is you learn this button using MaxMSP's learning features, and then that routes it to wherever you need it to go. I also did it for the Oxygen Pro Mini, so that it's easier to route that. So that is the eLive program. I hope this was insightful and enlightening and wonderful in all those great ways. I've been working on this for a very long time. I've got a lot of work left to do before it is solid and ready to go. But I look forward to writing my first pieces of music with it shortly. I've already begun writing a clarinet piece with it. And so be on the lookout for my new music with that. And if you're interested in using this yourself, please reach out to me, and we can talk about what that would look like. So thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.